Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Metaphorically Small Podcast. I'm your host, Eli, and I'm here with Anthony.
Hey guys.
And this time we're going to be switching it up. I'm going to be taking the reins. And today's episode is going to be about ghost stories and just
Yes.
overall paranormal encounters.
Yeah, so Eli actually I mean this happened at the beginning of the year, right? Like you had a bit of a paranormal
This
encounter.
this happened probably about a month ago now. It happened in like late January. For those of you guys who don't know, I'm gonna be diving into a bit of my personal life. I work as a EMT, so paramedic uh, that works in the back of an ambulance, and we got dispatched to a call where it's this fairly fairly oldish lady about in her 50s, 60s, and she's hunched over a toilet, puking her literally, by the way. So I want to point. I want to put a disclaimer now. It's gonna get quite gross because if you don't like blood and stuff, like tune out now. But we get there. This lady is quite literally puking her lungs out. Like when we enter her apartment, it was on the second floor, so it took us a little bit to get the freaking stretcher up there. And she is in bad shape. We find her in her bathroom, literally puking her lungs out, actual blood and what looks like pieces of like soft tissue. So yeah, literally puking her lungs out. And now I haven't been on the job for that long. I haven't been a EMT for that long, so I'm not used to the whole
You're not
gore
like used to blood. You're not
just
like used to
quite
blood.
yet. So yeah. So I admit I lost my composure a little bit. I had to step out and let my partner take care of her for just a sec because I was getting ready to throw up myself, and at one point I did actually throw up. And once I regained composure, I go back into the restroom and I find my partner with the woman's like shirt, like all of her upper body clothing just completely ripped off, like hovering over her with the defibrillators, trying to resuscitate her because at that point, like she was pretty much done for. But we were trying everything we could to revive her, to try to save her, and after about 7 attempts, because we were doing everything we could. We did manual CPR, so pretty much what you imagine with your hands. We used the defibrillators.
Yeah, like normal chest
After
compressions.
after about 5 to 7 attempts, we eventually had to call it out over the radio. And this is where things begin to get weird and a little bit creepy because uh, I I knew taking this job that I would be experiencing deaths like right in front of me, like firsthand. We would be losing people, like on the way to the hospital, or we wouldn't be able to save them at all. That was that was something I knew I was signing up for when I took this job. But this particular case, because it was one of the first times I actually experienced it for like firsthand. So I guess that's what made it so bone chilling for me. Yeah, but as we're calling it out over the radio, I I I feel as if because at this point she was dead. We pronounced her dead, so that's why we were calling it over the radio, and it felt like she was still there, if it makes any sense.
You felt
Like
this not like your genuine, not like your horror movie kind of like, oh, and then everything started moving on its own. Like no, like I understand what you're feeling, like that chill, kind of that little prickly feeling on the back of your neck, like Like the air kind of gets
Yeah.
colder, like something else is there with you.
And it wasn't just limited to me because I looked up at my partner and I saw this same look on her face. She knew something was wrong because we looked and locked eyes with each other for about what felt like 5 seconds, and we gave each other that look like, "Hey, there's something weird going on. Like we're not alone in this room." And at this point, I want to point out that this woman lived alone, so there couldn't have
Anybody
possibly
else there
been
with you?
anyone else in there. It was just me, my partner, and this
In the
corpse.
in this, yeah, essentially. Um,
I'm sorry I had to pronounce it that way, but
no, no. I mean, how else would you
this
say it? This,
body,
yeah, this body. But I know
that
exactly
was
that feeling.
this person who had literally just died, and we felt like we were not alone as we were calling it out. And it really freaked us out to the point where we asked our driver because we work in the back of the ambulance and we have a driver that takes us that drives the ambulance.
Hmm.
I don't think I could explain that any better.
Yeah.
And we asked him if he could stop by a nearby church to wash her, at the very least, to like douse ourselves with a little bit of holy water because it was just a
Oh, did you
very
guys? Oh, you actually did
chilling.
that? You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. So we stopped at a church and we splashed our faces and splashed a little bit of holy water on us. Yeah, so that way, if it was a spirit, it wouldn't get attached to one of us and attempt to follow us home. Because I've heard like countless stories that
It,
that is a thing.
it
Like
could
spirits
be,
gonna.
yes, it's a possibility. Myself, I'm not a religious man, not very in the slightest. I tried. My dad tried getting me into practicing it when I was younger. It didn't really stick with me, but even regardless of that fact, I still do believe in life after death. Like there's something, it's not like I've always had the feeling like regardless of whether I was being religious or not, like the body is it's essentially just what's left. The soul is somewhere. It goes somewhere. Um, and I've experienced a lot of death in my life. Over the past like 10, like 11 years now. I have had many of my close family members pass. And it's very weird because in a way, like even if it's not like in a very scary, you still feel their presence in some way. And regardless of the fact that if it's basic or just how they influence your life, or maybe they are still there, maybe they are still with you. But yeah, I know
And
exactly
some
how that
people,
feels.
yeah, some people in some cases actually take comfort in that. Uh, I'm trying to think of an example.
Anthony and Eli
Say,
debunk
say
Christianity. No, no, we're not going to do that. We're not a religious podcast by any means, uh, and
no.
we never will be.
Uh, if anything, not neither of us are very religious. Uh,
Can you imagine?
so
We become like TV preachers. What would be our what would
yeah,
be like what I'm
the
assuming no,
moment we become preachers
you're
of
Catholic, right?
any
Or you were
sort,
raised Catholic, right? Or no?
more or less Christian, kind of
More or less
Catholic,
Christian?
I suppose
Okay,
you
yeah.
could say.
I was raised Catholic, but I mean that worked out marvelously well considering I'm homosexual. But
If you're gonna stick your pee in women, make sure you're married to them.
come on, man. No, but no, like we'd be like those really scammy like TV preachers, like plant your seed of blessing of $1,000, send it into this address. Like, how do people get away with that? Like, give us $1,000 and we'll bless you. Like, what the hell?
I'm about to alleviate this man from
Pray,
sin.
pray. No, okay, no, okay, no. We're
Fucking
getting
slaps him across the forehead. You are healed, my.
you you do it way better than I do. You are healed. Uh no, but Getting back on topic, I actually do have a story. This happened to me very recently. It's not really scary by any means, but my grandmother, a very lovely woman. She was awesome. She had passed in 2020, like right at the end, like just 2 weeks before Christmas. She had been battling breast cancer for years at that point. And she was in remission for a short while, and then at one point, her health just deteriorated. Like it was just the point of no return. Like we knew what was gonna happen. Well, we knew it was gonna happen, but we didn't know it would happen so soon. And so there was just a solid week where I was with my grandmother. Like we tried to see her as much as we could, and yeah, and then I woke up one morning to my phone ringing, and my mom calls me because she was my mom's mom, so my mom was literally spending every moment of like the day with her. Like no matter what, like I didn't see my mom at home for like a solid week, because of that. But she but like I got a call one morning, and I had it was my mom, and she was crying, and she's like, Anthony, grandma's gone. She's passed. And I was like, oh damn. And like, I was incredibly upset because I love my grandma. Um we were very close. So like I call my dad, he comes and picks us up, and he takes us over to my grandmother's house. And we pay our respects, and we say our goodbyes and stuff. And the morgue comes and they pick her up. And so basically after that, we were all just kind of sitting around. Like all of my extended family was there. Um like we like just paying their respects, like my aunts and my uncles and stuff, they were all paying respects to my grandmother. And then my grandfather, my grandpa, he's really cool. But he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist. And my grandma, she really didn't have a filter. She she was vulgar. She was a bit racist, but it's besides the point. But like usually when my
Why'd you
grandpa would go on his
suddenly slip into an Irish accent when you said
a
a
bit a
bit
bit
racist?
a bit racist. That's just how I say it now. It's just weird. The internet has kind of warped my mind. But but no, but like my grandma was the kind of person, like my grandpa would go on his like conspiracy theory rantings, and she'd be like, Mike, just shut the fuck up already, please. Like that, and he'd be like, yeah, whatever, bitch. Like they would just do that back and forth. They were very vulgar with each other, but they loved each other very much. Um, but no, but like my grandpa, like he started going on this like conspiracy rant with like his brother and stuff, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the lights start flickering, like really flickering, and like all of us are confused. And then I was like, because I call my grandpa, I call him Papa, so I was like, Papa, that's Grandma telling you to shut up. Like, and he was like, "Yep, I doubt, like, I know that is," and it was really crazy, like, cause I wouldn't say I've had many paranormal encounters throughout my life. I've definitely had a lot of scary encounters. I mean, I guess I can kind of fit in with the theme here because once again, I
Yeah,
don't,
it's
yeah,
not just paranormal, it's just like freaky shit.
yeah. I've had many of those encounters in my life, um, but yeah, I've never I've been exposed to death for years and years now. Like it's nothing that's really shocking. I can't say it's not shocking to me because whenever somebody I'm close to does pass, it is very it is very shocking, and it saddens me. Like literally, one of my former coworkers at this point now, he was he was like, I think he was a year older than me, and he
Yeah,
had
you
quit
told me
like.
about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had quit not too long ago, and then one of my other coworkers, one of my managers, had told me like, "Hey, I just seen so and so's like Snapchat story, and it said like, rip so and so," like, and I was like, "Wait, no way, he died?" But like I was in disbelief. I didn't know what the hell happened until I like looked up his name online, and then it said like, "Oh, like 20-year-old killed in a car wreck," and it was him, and I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" Like, like I was just talking to him like not too long ago. Like he had stopped by. he had stopped by like my job, like to just get some food and stuff, and I was like, Jesus, like it's so weird. Life is weird, man. Life is
Life is
incredibly weird.
strange.
Life is strange. I've not those are I have not played those games, and I don't. And I've seen little snippets of them, but that's
Me
besides the
neither.
point. Um.
Funny enough, I think there is some like paranormal shit in those games.
Oh, absolutely. Mm. Oh, but we can lead into if we're gonna be talking about scary experiences. One thing, if there's one thing you gotta know about me, guys, and I feel like some people who have come from my channel,
That he is a
uh,
pussy.
that I am a massive pussy, and my favorite genre of video games is always horror games. I love horror games. Um,
I was just making that up, but if he admits it,
mm, I love horror games. I will live and die by that fact. And my boyfriend, he's not really much of a fan, but but like I try to get him to watch me play horror games, and he's like, "No, it's too scary." I'm like, "Oh, come on." Um, yeah, but one of the first like big horror games to hit the internet, Slenderman. That was that was all the rage. Do you remember that period of the internet?
oh, I remember Slenderman. I remember dressing up as Slenderman once and
No
fucking
way.
yeah. It was like a really bad attempt at Slenderman.
Uh,
I I pretty much lost my shit that night because I was trying to be like as like quiet as possible, and then these like group of teenage kids they come up to me and they're like, "Do you believe in God?" And of
do you
course,
believe in God?
they said it in a really stupid tone too. It was like, "So do you believe in God?" And I lost my composure.
um, no, but like Slenderman, that was one of the big, that was a really big. Like usually YouTube, well, I mean the whole internet goes through like a horror, like a new horror game comes out, and like that is just like many of them come out, but there's just one that hits it. Like 2012 Slenderman, 2014 Five Nights at Freddy's, like 2016 17. Like
Franchise that won't die.
like 20, yeah, definitely not. 2016 and 17 was like Benny and the Ink Machine, and then now I think we're in the phase of I think Poppy Playtime, that's what it's called. So yeah, it goes through
Mhm.
its really, well, I mean, Poppy Playtime, I think they're on their way out because they started doing NFT bullshit. So
Did they really?
yeah, I think they started doing NFTs. Well, I mean, not from the
God
game, but
damn
like I
it.
think they just started releasing stuff like that. So but yeah, um it usually like but I remember like back in the day, like all of those, like basically any horror game that came out back then was like a Slender Man clone.
I think it's because we're in such a horror drought right now. Like freaking Kojima, he's not making the Silent Hill series anymore. He kind of got in a fight with Konami, so they don't want to make any of the like horror games that we all know and love. We were
Yeah.
supposed to get like I don't know if it was a new Resident Evil or like a spiritual successor to it, but there was like this demo that
Are you
came out
talking
not
about
too
PT?
yeah, PT. It was this
Oh yeah.
demo that came out like not too long ago, and it was supposed to be like a new Silent Hill. And right before they decided, like right before they made any like actual work on it, like I don't know, Hideo Kojima got into some shit with Konami, and they parted ways, and now we're not getting any like good horror games.
Um but yeah, I mean there's always that, I mean, and also we had well, I mean not really, I mean I can't really consider it a horror game. It had a lot of good scary elements, but Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, the newest installment that came out in December, I loved
White
it
woman
from
jump
like
scare.
white woman jump scare. No, I played like the beginning. For those of you who watched my streams of it, it got to like it was really good at the beginning, and then slowly over time you could see like my patience just like dwindle and like just die because near the end, like the ending was so rushed. There was so many fucking bugs, and there's like multiple endings to that game, and you have to like, and like because it goes by hours, like even though it's all free roam, it goes by hours, like 12 to 6 a.m. But at 6 a.m, the save points lock, so you can't save. So if you want to go and attempt any of the endings and you die, you have to start all over again. So people took it upon themselves to start bugging the game out to unlock the save points. And by the end of that, like just the true like the canon ending of the game, like it was just so bugged that like it wasn't worth it and I quit. Like I quit at that point. But it was very disappointing. But going back to the whole topic of horror games, oh jeez,
I have one question about Security Breach.
go ahead.
Who is that game actually for? Because did they really have to make Vanessa that fucking thick?
Um, I could tell Five Nights at Freddy's.
Vanessa and Vanny, man. They really have to make the only two females freaking thick as hell.
Oh, you're forgetting about Roxy and Chica. What are you talking about? Mm.
Yeah,
No,
but
but what
those are robots.
yeah, no, but and honestly, at this point, it's hard to tell because even then, the first FNAF games, like, I couldn't, like, I mean, I could, there were more well, not like adult themes, but like, references to blood and gore and stuff like that. Like, it was never really meant to be like or strictly for adults or strictly for kids kind of thing. It was just kind of existed in this gray area. But the thing is, we now live in an age where kids basically have unrestricted access to the internet. So things for adults or things that are kind of intended for adults quickly become things intended for kids. Like it kind of like morphs into that kind of thing very quickly. So yes,
Call
it
of
has yeah.
Duty.
Call of Duty, absolutely Call of Duty. Um,
Fucking GTA.
yeah, yeah. But yeah. Like I'm not saying like monitor your child's every move on the internet, but like still just pay attention to what they're doing and if they're doing stupid shit, stop them, please. Please because like having unrestricted access to the internet turns your kids into us. That's not a good thing. Don't let your children be us. Have them become normal functioning members of society.
Spec them if they need it, but don't go overboard.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're gonna
Okay,
edit that part out.
this is a really good talk about the paranormal here. No. But going back to the whole topic of like, scary experiences and stuff like that, I remember playing the first, like Slender the Eight Pages, and then oh
Mm.
god, mm. And then I replayed it like I think like 2 years ago. Recently, I have to play it again, but like still that tension, it grabs you like that fear, like it is really good at doing that.
Do you remember that $20 like I don't know if it was a mod or add-on where it
No,
just like
it was a
made the entire
mode. It was a mode in Slender. I
yeah.
think you did it after beating the game mode, or like the beating the original game mode, and like yeah, whenever you seen Slender, it would play a song.
It was like give me
Yeah,
$20, give
I
me
know
$20.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then it all went through its phases of like, what if like we gave like what if you could fight Slenderman? What if you got a gun and you could kill him? But like, I think as soon as you get like in a horror game, especially like if you have a weapon, the threat ceases to become scary because you have a way to defend yourself now.
Yeah. See, that's what I love about Resident Evil is that it takes that concept. It was like, what if you can defend yourself, but like your ammo is so scarce that you have to use it wisely and stuff like that. And in
Uh,
newer titles like Resident Evil 8, like
oh,
they're kind of
Village.
generous with ammo. So yeah, that game is basically just the whole fucking. It's a good game, don't get me wrong, but that game is just
Oh,
like
absolutely.
a fucking sex fantasy.
Oh yeah, Lady Dimitrescu. Markiplier simps
Big,
very
big
very
vampire lady.
Markiplier, as he says, he respectfully simps for Lady Dimitrescu.
I
um,
actually like the daughters better, but
re-
maybe it's because I'm a sucker for blondes.
um, but yeah, no, one really good example of like
And they have
just
more realistic proportions.
okay, come on, man. No, one another good example of like being defenseless, being hopeless. Well, I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's is one good example. I mean, that's how the game started off, and then they slowly be like, or I mean, they never really gave you a means to defeat. It was more of a means to prolong your death. It was more of like, here, use this mechanic to stave them off for just a little bit longer, but there's a catch. It has to recharge, and if it's not recharged by the time they get to you, then you're done. But besides that, another good example, and this will forever live in my heart as like a really good horror game. One of the best I played, Outlast. Outlast
Mm.
nails horror like that feeling perfectly. I played through the original Outlast and the DLC on stream on my Twitch. I don't have the VODs for playing through the original game. I do have the VOD for playing the DLC. I haven't played Outlast 2 yet, mainly because like I just haven't found the time to stream it at all.
From what I
Um
hear, Outlast 2 is good, but it's not as good as the first. It's
that's
kind of fucky in my opinion.
that's what everybody says about the sequels.
Yeah.
That's what everybody says about sequels. It's like, oh, it's good, but it's not as good as the first one. I guarantee you, go back to the first one, and there are probably a lot of improvements. Um, but yeah,
You know what?
What? Go ahead.
Since we're on the topic of horror games, it's only fitting that we talk about the game that made PewDiePie famous. Well, he was famous before that, but
Amnesia.
that really blew up his channel,
Amnesia.
and especially fitting because he did actually revisit that game not too long ago.
Yeah, and I think they released a new
It did have like
Amnesia.
a
I think
anniversary. Yeah.
they released a new Amnesia game, and he played through it. Yeah, Amnesia, baby. I haven't actually like played it. All I know about Amnesia is through PewDiePie's playthroughs, and I know you could do like custom stories and stuff like that. But like, I have not played Amnesia for myself, and I really want to play it. I might do that at some point.
You
Um,
know what game we should do a let's play on? It's not a
what?
horror game, but it still has like a super creepy factor to it.
What?
Far Cry 5.
Far Cry 5? We might get
Specifically 5. And
we'll
I'll
get
tell
to
you
that
why.
point.
Even though it's a shooter, even though it's a shooter game, the whole like point of it is like go shooty shooty bang bang. You could do like all sorts of stupid shit. Like you could literally chuck shovels at people, decapitate them. The game is about this like crazy cultist family in like the middle of butt fuck nowhere America. So right out of the gates, it
Oh,
has
so like
your like
Texas Chainsaw kind of thing.
yeah, right out of the gate, it already has like some major like I'm trying to think of the name of the, like that famous cultist guy that like convinced people to kill themselves in real life.
Oh fuck, I don't remember. I don't remember his name either. Here, let's look up here. Didn't he drink like the spiked Kool-Aid or whatever?
Yeah, that guy. It has
Kool-Aid
like it has
cult.
a lot of
I just looked up.
inspiration
I
from
just looked
that.
up Kool-Aid cult. Um, drinking the
Remember, kids, if you're ever at a party and there's
Jim
a
Jones. Jim Jones.
Jim
That was
Jones,
the.
yeah. If you're ever at a party, don't drink the Kool-Aid.
um, I mean that's another thing we talk. Like, what was like another thing? Scary movies. Scary movies. What is your favorite like horror movie or scary movie?
That's kind of tough. Uh,
If you had to just pick like just one that you like, say you had like your entire catalog of all the horror movies you've seen, what is the one you will pick up and watch like first?
so see that's what makes it difficult because I want to say like your stereotypical like horror movies like oh Saw or like yeah the Jason Voorhees franchise Friday the 13th. I'm actually gonna go with like a rather obscure movie, and it's from the 70s, so this is actually a little bit before Christine. It's called The Car, and
The
it's
Car.
about this it's about this I don't know what the hell it is. Like it literally on the poster of the movie they say like it's possessed by like the devil itself. But it's this deranged car that drives itself. It's literally Christine, but before Christine. it's this deranged car that drives itself. It's damn near impossible to kill. It goes around terrorizing this small town in like Texas or something, like somewhere secluded.
Utah.
And Utah, oh yeah,
I have the Wikipedia page up.
and like it's basically just Christine, but it came out before Christine.
uh, I mean, that's yeah, that's fair. My thing, and I know my answer is kind of stereotypical, but the original, fuck, I gotta look up when the date was.
I think the reason why, because when I watched this movie, it was genuinely scary for me, and I think that what made it so scary is the fact that like uh, a paranormal entity could possess something like a vehicle and use it as a weapon, and that's what makes it so scary.
Yeah. I know my answer is kind of stereotypical, but my answer would have to go to 1978, the original Halloween movie. That
The
that is
original, yeah,
yes, that is by far one of the best horror movies that I have ever seen. Not because it had like good practical effects or like it was like it was a cinematic masterpiece. I mean, it could be considered that now, but like the simplicity of it. That's what horror doesn't need to be overly gory or like overly complex to be scary. Sometimes a topic so simple as literally just a random crazy guy escapes an asylum one night and you know like goes on a rampage on Halloween night. Like that's scary to me. It's always like and like Halloween like as a franchise it's transcended like through the past couple of years like and I know
yeah.
we now live in the day and age of like reboots and revivals and stuff and it's kind of hard like
And
one of my
that,
coworkers, oh I'm sorry, go ahead.
and I tell you what, it sure as hell was scary back in the day when it first came out, because that was one of the like most terrified movies like ever when it first came out.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we could see like it was made on a budget of 300 like around $325,000 and it grossed over 60 to 70 million dollars.
So, fun fact: the original Halloween movies has a record. I think it still holds the record for being like one of the like most highest grossing movies with the cheapest budget.
Well, I mean, many credit the film as the first in a long line of slasher films inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. I haven't really watched a lot of Psycho. I haven't watched Psycho too
Me
much.
neither.
Um, one of the most greatest and influential horror movies ever made. Absolutely. Um, but what was it? Like just like they didn't have a lot to work with. And I guess that's what makes it like really scary. Like it proves that like you don't need a lot to like make a good film. Um, and then I know they kind of went off the rails with all of their sequels and stuff, but from what I've heard, that the new one that
Yeah,
came out in 2018 it retcons all the past films. And
yeah.
you know that,
See,
and yeah. Oh, go ahead.
you don't have to make sequels of beloved franchises that just wreck on everything. The sequels are not necessary. Just let the movies remain timeless. Let them remain classic.
Well, I mean, it goes back to the whole. I mean, I think by like Halloween like 5, like Michael's story had been very like warped. It was like, oh, he was placed under a curse that makes him kill family members. That's why he's after Laurie Strode or whatever. And it's like, just come on.
Yeah,
At that point, you're just stretching it along. But then they completely wiped all that away, and or I mean, and then you had Halloween, the Rob Zombie remakes, and to be honest, the first one's okay. Halloween 2008 is okay. Second one,
yeah.
I can't stand to watch it, and that's like one of the only like besides the original movies, it's like the only one they play on TV now.
That's that's the problem with stuff like horror movies and just movies in general is that When something is successful, they usually try to make sequels that don't really need to be made, and when they do stuff like that, they try to like because they want to extend the franchise, they kind of end up fucking it up and ruining it a little
Yeah,
bit.
no. Okay, yeah, Halloween 2008 was good. Halloween 2018, I actually went to go see that on Halloween night. God
Mm.
damn, that was a good movie. And then Halloween Kills came out. Halloween Kills was it was okay. I found it's one of those movies where you oddly find yourself rooting for the villain more than the heroes.
That's why I feel like Halloween Kills works because by at this point you're actually rooting for the killer and instead of all of the idiots in the town that are just gonna get butchered anyway. So
Yeah, no, just like seeing Michael go fucking ape shit, just like hacking away
I
at
loved it. I
people.
love
The
the
car
scene where
door, the
this guy,
car door.
yeah, the car door.
That was the
Where the
best.
fu- where the fuck do they get a desert eagle? And second of
Uh,
all, why? I
oh,
have
you
so
haven't seen
many
the movie, have
questions,
you?
but I have.
Oh, you have? Well, I mean, the whole thing was like they form a lynch mob, like, and one, because it's, well, I mean, it's Illinois. Of course, you're gonna have guns everywhere. Um, as somebody from Illinois, there's gonna be guns just
America.
everywhere. America, America. Um, uh, no, but what was it? But
We're
yeah.
Americans, but we're not psychos.
Well, I mean, and then there was other. I mean, moving on from Halloween, there's other horror movie remakes that just don't work. Like on it, like Friday the 13th, they got a remake. Nah, no, it didn't work. Texas Chainsaw, it went through like a lot of remakes, and I know it just got a new one, and I heard that one wasn't even that good.
Jeepers
Um,
Creep. I never even knew they made third Jeepers Creepers, and they completely
Jeepers
fucked it
Creepers.
up.
Oh my god, you are on lot. Oh my god, I remember watching the first one. That terrified me as a kid. Um, I mean, as a kid, my grandma, I mean, nowadays she
I
watches really stupid ones, but I've been exposed to horror
I
movies because of my grandmother.
I love the first two. I never even knew they made a third one, and it was made like the year I was watching it too. So I was very surprised because it was made in like 2018 or so, like very recently.
Really?
But yeah, it had the same look and feel of like the original Jeepers Creepers, but apparently it was made in 2018, like very recently. But I hated it because they made him look all goofy and they made him do like stupid shit, kind of like the new It movies, where they
Oh
tried
no,
to
I
make him
love,
like
I,
comical.
I love the new It movies. I mean, that's what Pennywise. What Pennywise was that in the original movie?
Yeah, it makes sense for it because he's a clown. Yeah, like that's part of the personality. But when you have like a fucking creature that's known for like stalking people and like being hidden, all of a sense he like puts his face up to
Oh,
like the
oh, oh,
freaking car
oh.
window and like does the nose thing, but like
What
in
are
a
you talking
very
about?
stupid and goofy looking
Are you
fashion.
talking
Like that
about
that's what I don't like.
Pennywise? Or
No, the thing from Jeepers Creepers.
I think his name is just Jeepers Creepers. Let's
Yeah.
see. The is Jeepers Creepers a god? What is Google? Is an ancient the creeper. Oh, that's what his name is.
Like
He's an ancient demonic
the
creature.
new one. The new one just does not sit well with me because they made him goofy and stupid, and I just don't like it. The new
And
It, the reason why it doesn't really sit well with me is because of that stupid dance that he was literally just wasting
oh,
time. He could have just
I
fucking
love
been
that.
feasting on
I
their
love
bones.
I love that.
Yeah, it was meme to high hell, and
Oh my
I could
god.
see why it was meme.
Um, I mean, that's also the thing. I mean, I can also like one like the original Jeepers Creepers. It scared the shit out of me as a kid. But if we're talking about like influential like horror movies, like yeah, Halloween was always one of those. But Friday the 13th. Like how many of those were those? Were there like nine of them? Friday the 13th
If it's a popular horror
series.
movie, they're gonna milk the hell out of the franchise, so
No,
there
how
probably is like
many?
10.
The original film created to cash in on the success of Halloween 1978. What was the first one? 1980. Um, um, I'm trying to like wait, part six. Holy shit! They went for it. No, I was wrong. There was like, no, because then they had like, um, oh wait. Friday the 13th was the highest grossing horror franchise in the world until Halloween 2018 released, putting Halloween the franchise back on the top. That's interesting. Oh wait, no, there are so many. No, it goes to like part 6, part 7, part 8, 9. Like, holy shit. There's so many. Oh, and then there's uh there's part 10 where he's in the future. Like and he's
Oh
like a
yeah.
cyborg. That one is really dumb.
Do you know what? We should actually get the game. We should get Friday the 13th game.
Absolutely. I do love the Friday the 13th game. I think Friday the 13th, it really, like, the first three movies are good, and then after that, it's just, bleh. I can't.
Yeah.
But also Texas Chainsaw, like, I'm, like, it's funny, because my grandma, like I said, she's a really big fan of horror movies, and she put on the original Texas Chainsaw, and by this time, I'm, like, I'm like 19 at this point, so I'm sitting there watching it with her, and it's just the scene where like they pick like it's all the kids in the van or whatever, and they pick up a random hitchhiker, and he just starts screaming, and then he just like slices his hand with like a razor blade, and then it's just like a quick collage, everybody's like zooming in on their faces, and they're all screaming. It's like I was like, how the fuck is this scary?
Yeah.
Like no, like not putting down uh Texas Chainsaw fans. Like, you like what you like, but personally, I can't really sit down and watch those movies. I do hear there's a game coming out, so if that's any good, I'll probably play it. But yeah. But let's reel this back into what are your actual real life, like what are your real life like scary experiences?
So I wouldn't really say it's scary, and I could probably go downstairs and experience this like right now. But when like very early on in my childhood, my grandpa passed away. So yeah, I guess I could. This story kind of relates to like you and your grandmother,
Yeah.
and in a sense, it kind of relates to the very first story from this podcast because yeah, there's like a sense, like a feeling that like he's still with us, but like in a comforting way. And when he passed, we had his body like cremated. We have his ashes in an urn downstairs, and we have it in a room that's kind of like our dining room. We just have like all of our like like fancy stuff like knickknacks that my grandma likes to collect, and we have his urn in that room. And whenever someone would try to close the door to that room, we would walk away, and we would always find that door wide open without fail every single time. Like we would shut the door like all the way to where it actually like clicks into the little like slot, and somehow that door would magically be open and like all the way open. And it's not like there's a problem with the house because we've moved around a couple of times over the years, and this would happen to every single house we've stayed in. So it's almost like there's something opening the door. It doesn't like being in a shut room. It would always open the door.
Yeah. Um I I don't really have a lot of like I said, I don't have a lot of like paranormal experiences like that. I mean most of my experiences just come with really scary like just basically my mind just starts playing tricks on me. Or I mean there was so many of these. There was one my sister probably tells the story better than I do, but oh jeez. Yeah, no. My sister probably tells the story much better than I do. But it was when we were moving. For those of you, like, when I say I'm from Chicago, I used to live basically kind of on the outskirts of Chicago. I didn't really live in the city, but yeah, we used to live
Listen,
there, and then
Chicago.
yeah, I live in Chicago. No, but then I moved to the suburbs like later in my life, and it was when we were moving from there to my current home. We were like kind of like not in like we were not like in the final stages where like everything was on the truck. We were just like bringing small things over like here and there, like bits of furniture or clothes and stuff. But our big stuff like our TV and like our like appliances and stuff. And like back in the day, TVs were heavy. Like the CRTs, the tube TVs,
Oh, I remember.
those were
Yeah, my
fucking
grandma had one of those
heavy.
for the longest
Oh
time.
my
She
god.
had this thing looked like a fucking like movie theater screen. Like this thing was massive.
Oh my god. And like I lived on the like second story of like we lived on like the second floor of like an apartment building. So like I can't imagine us getting like bringing
Oh,
like I can't imagine. Like I know you have to get those things professionally disposed of. Like I actually had to get rid of a CRT not too long ago, and I actually threw my back out like
mm,
trying to like
lift
like
with your
not
knees,
no
Anthony.
no not lifting, like I was dragging it, like it was on the floor so we could just drag it, and like it was heavy, but no, but like we had the but no like we had like the TV, like the living room TV and stuff still there. And I don't know, I was not like there at the moment, because I was still fairly young. I was about like 5, 6 years old when this happened. So like I was with my parents, but my sister, she had went inside the house to, I think, grab like a popsicle out of the freezer or something. And when she walked in, like the TV was off, so it was completely off. And so she goes into the kitchen. So basically, the layout of the apartment was you walk in the front door, you're in the living room, and then you just keep walking. Like the whole apartment was like a straight line down. Like it was a straight line down. You go from living room, dining room, and then you walk into the kitchen. So like she was basically at the end of the apartment near the back door. Um and she would like she grabbed her things and she heard the TV go on. And so and like she like it kind of freaked her out. And I mean, I don't know. I think it happened a second time as well, but I'm not really sure. Like I said, because I was not there, but all I remember is what my sister had told me. Um, but yeah, usually,
Um,
uh,
as we were saying, or as I was saying, we haven't really been out in the country that often, so like we don't really know what it's like to be out in the wilderness like all by ourselves. We're the type of people that like would go like camping out in the woods, and the first like weird fucking noise we hear, we pack up and
funny,
go.
funny enough, I was talking because Aiden and I, you know the game, The Forest, right?
Yeah, I've seen you play it. Yeah,
You've seen me play it. Where have you seen me play it?
that
I
Bigfoot game.
No, no,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
That's no, that's fine.
Maybe it's
No,
called
that's
Hunting
finding. No,
Bigfoot
that's no,
or
that's
whatever.
finding Bigfoot. No, the
Yeah.
forest is the other game where it's like you're a plane crash survivor and you're on like an island full of cannibals.
Okay, I've seen that game too. Yeah.
Yeah, no. So we've been playing that recently, and it really got me interested in like outdoorsman, like survivally kind of things. And I asked Aiden, I'm like, because I'm going out to Colorado very soon. I was like, babe, we should like go camping. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. Like I've never been like I've been like what's called like white people camping, like the whole like campgrounds of numbered posts and like concrete slabs or the fire pit, like that kind of
Yeah.
camping, white people camping. But I want to go
Uh,
like actual
I,
camping.
yeah. See, like, yeah. I mean, you literally just admitted it. Like, we're both that kind of like outdoorsy. I can't really say I'm much of a wilderness person because I live in Nevada. It's all fucking desert out here. There's like no woods or anything
And then you
other than
occasionally like
maybe
see a hiker in the desert, and get absorbed into a cult.
they just get sucked up by a UFO.
Well, I mean, yeah,
And
that's
Area 51 tries to
mm,
deny it.
mm, yeah. Actually, what do you think scares you more? The possibility of like a massive like other like unholy like being, like what scares you more, like science fiction, like aliens and stuff like that, or like unholy terrors. Like the
Definitely
Goat
unholy
Man,
terrors.
or like cryptids. Cryptids. Oh my god.
I'll explain why. I feel like both do exist. Aliens more than like unholy
Yeah, it's
stuff.
stupid to think that we're alone in the universe.
We're definitely not. I just feel as if like as of recent years, humanity's kind of going back like on the evolutionary chart. Like we're getting kind of stupid, and I feel like the aliens kind of noticed that too, and they want
Yeah.
nothing to do with us.
Yeah, no, I feel like any aliens passing by in their little UFOs are like, what the fuck are they doing? No, they're not worth invading. I mean, like
And
they see us
this
and
old
they're
man they got leading the country right now is about to start World War III. We don't want to get fucking wrapped up in their shit.
no,
Yeah, they'll
they're
just turn
like
their fucking mothership around and like go back home.
they're yeah, no, like they look at us and they're like, nah, they'd be too easy to invade, and they just go find somewhere else. They're like, we want a challenge. Um,
Either that or they're scared that we're just gonna shoot them on sight because you know how Americans are.
yeah, I mean, I feel like it's anybody if they encounter an alien. Um,
We're an American.
or I mean, like somebody else brought this up. I forgot. I seen it. I seen it somewhere on the internet. But like, if somebody encounter like the whole story of E.T., like the boy meets an alien. It's like a normal boy, like in this day and age, would like not like a normal teenage boy in this day and age would not like take kindly to like they probably like he probably drag it out to like all of his friends. They just beat the shit out of it. Like knowing teenagers these
See,
days.
it's funny you say that because every time I hear like a story about like, oh, I took a picture of Bigfoot or I saw Bigfoot, like I always doubt it because I was like, okay, this day and age, like everyone on Earth has a fucking smartphone with a camera, and especially like I just love making American jokes, like because it's true for the most part. Everyone here in America has some type of like weapon or some type of firearm. Like yeah, I'd be scared, but I try to get some fucking shots in on fucking Bigfoot and see if I could like see if I could drag his big ass to the nearest research center.
Yeah, I mean, and then also brings in the factor of like cryptids, man. I love looking at cryptids and stuff. It's
Uh,
interesting, like the Mothman and Siren Head. Like, don't get me wrong, Siren Head is still fucking terrifying, but like I feel like he's just been overdone a bit nowadays.
uh,
Um,
you know
like
what?
don't
Since
like
we're on the topic of cryptids, we should talk about. I know it's not real, but it's so well done that it kind of makes you believe that it's real. And what I'm going to be talking about is a little organization called SCP.
the SCP Foundation. I knew you're fucking going to that. The SCP Foundation. Absolutely. I SCP like still to this day like I've seen like Markiplier. He was the big like he was like the big uh like back in the day. He was the big like SCP YouTuber. He played all the mods and stuff. And to this day like playing like even though it's still got that like old like that old PC game aesthetic, like it is still fucking terrifying.
And it's not just the games. I'm talking about like the whole
Oh,
SCP thing in
the
general.
whole
Like
SCP website, and also if you're that guy who
the
tried
entirety of
copyright,
it.
if you're that guy who tried to copyright and like claim all the SCPs on the website, screw you, man.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, dude. You had no right. That people put their blood, sweat, and tears into working on those creatures and all those things, and like just making an amazing, being a part of an amazing community. And you try to rip that away. Fuck you, dude.
And not only that, but like it's Creative Commons. Like it's what's that like license called or
Fair use.
whatever? Fair use. Yeah, like you could use their work, just don't try to make like profit off it. Like if you're one of those type of people that's like plagiarizes and screw you,
Yeah, the
you're a piece of
SCP.
shit.
Yeah, the SCP organization. It is an interesting. It's an interesting thing.
But the reason why I love it so much is because even though we all know it's not like a real thing, it's so
It
well
feels
crafted, so
real.
well
It
organized
feels
that
real.
it like ingrains itself onto your like into your mind. That was like, you know what? Who's to say that such an organization was like is
Like
doesn't exist, isn't
it could
real?
it honestly could exist because there are
What
there are numerous things like cited throughout history of like, oh, this mysterious object, like anybody who came in
what
contact with it, like
What if these individuals, what if this organization is so like good at what they do that they are the ones responsible for keeping us safe from these so-called cryptids? Because if you've seen SCP, you know that there's some very, very dangerous ones.
yes, there are very dangerous
And
ones, and there are some that, well, I mean, they are technically contained. Like I think SCP-3000, I think it's called SCP-3000, which is a massive like sea serpent.
we're talking about like ones that could literally destroy planets, universes, like very dangerous ones. So who's to
Yeah.
say that such an organization doesn't exist that is in secret, like secretly protecting us all.
Yeah, no. SCP-3000 is a massive it's a massive like serpent. But it is hypothesized to be 600 and 900 kilometers, or to be
Men in
between
Black.
6.
Do the Men in Black really count though?
Do the
Do
Men
you
in
even know
Black?
if they're real?
The men. Well, I mean, that's just Area 51 shit. You know, I'd like to believe Men in Black were real. I see one of the Men in Black, like the most recent one, the third one that came out, which arguably is
Oh
really
no.
good. I really like that. Men in Black
I
3
like
was
Will
really
Smith,
good.
but I don't like Men in Black.
Really? I have never heard anybody really talk bad about or not talk shit, like not talk bad, but like say they disliked Men in Black. I really liked Men in Black.
They're kind of cringy to me. I just don't really like Men in Black. I like Will
Yeah.
Smith, but I just don't like him in that movie and those movies.
Hmm. Yeah. Um but yeah. Lots of scary things out there. The human mind, uh weird unholy cryptid creatures. Um and even then humans themselves can be pretty scary at sometimes. Um And
Oh
with that,
yeah,
I'd like to draw this episode to a close because I think we're gonna get pretty off topic here. Um, but yeah,
really, we
that's
haven't
gonna be
even
it.
touched on the back rooms.
Oh, the back rooms. Oh, that'll be a whole nother. We could do a whole nother thing on that. But yeah, we're gonna draw this episode to a close, guys. Well, I would like to once again, Eli, who's actually the host for this episode. Would you like to close us out here, bud?
Uh, Yes. Before we go, the reason why I wanted to touch on the back rooms is because it's kind of like SCP within itself.
Oh yeah,
I'm actually
yeah.
working on a type of back rooms slash SCP. They're going to be like intertwined, connected. I'm working on a back rooms project myself,
Oh
and
really?
it's going to be like connecting stuff from real life. It's gonna have a whole ass ARG connected to it, so it's definitely going to be involving like things and clues from real life as well. And there is going to be a storyline. It's going to be very, very meta because again, there's going to be like real life locations involved. Because I live in Las Vegas, one of the confirmed locations is going to be Omega Mart. If you ever heard of that.
Omega Mart. That sounds very familiar.
It's this new attraction that's it's like a fake grocery store. Supposed to like mess with your head and stuff. You could go like into like a refrigerator and then like end up in a completely different room. And the reason why I wanted to choose it's because it all like the entire place already has like very backrooms like vibes to it. So I wanted to incorporate that into the ARG, which not sure how I'm gonna do it just yet because that place has its own ARG. So very early in development, but
Yeah,
but
we'll have to
we'll
come
see how
back.
that turns out.
Yeah, we'll have to do regular updates on that to see how it's doing.
Even in Colorado, I was thinking of like leaving a clue instead of like a briefcase out in the middle of fucking nowhere in Colorado. So if you live in Colorado, you're hiking or something someday, you remember this clue, you stumble upon a briefcase with a note inside of it. I do want to say that I want the ARG, like the clues, to be found in a specific order. So if you manage to find it, depending on when you find it, don't read it yet, or depending on when you found it, because I do want to have like a little bit of an order to it. Yeah, like just feel free to post a clue on the internet and see if the pieces
Oh,
match
you're
up.
going for like a whole like geocaching kind of vibe thing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's interesting, man. So yeah, we're gonna have to come back to that with regular updates. I want to see how that comes to fruition. But yeah, that's gonna be it for us, guys. So yeah, I just hope you guys had fun listening to us talk about our scary experiences. I mean, not really. A lot of it was scary. Most of it kind of went off topic. But hey, like I said, it's our podcast. We can go off topic if we want. But yeah, that's
We
gonna be
kept
it.
it mostly
Yeah.
paranormal. That was
Oh
the
yeah,
theme.
yeah. That's gonna be it from me. So yeah, Eli, here, close us out here, bud.
All right, so thank you very much for listening. If there's one takeaway from all of this, is that you should always remember to wash your pee pee.
Always wash your pee pee, and uh, always just look behind you. Always take a look behind your shoulder, because you never know what could be lurking there. And always point a light into the dark, shadowy hallway, because there could be
Could be
something
just
lurking.
a figment of your imagination, or it could just be your abuelita with a chancla.
Your abuela, yep, yeah, abuela gets really she gets really scary. Um, getting, but yeah. So that's gonna be it from us, guys. Hope you guys have a good night. See you later.